Hi, it's Vicky here, and today I'll be making a tag for Limor Weber Designs. So let's get started. I'll be working on this wooden tag, and first of all I'll cover up the whole tag with one of my pattern papers. This is a paper pad by Prima and it's called Princess. So I've chosen this pattern paper. I'm cutting out with my scissors just a piece of paper, and now I'll be using my Faber-Castell gel medium as a glue. So I'm covering up the whole surface of my tag and I'm sticking down the paper. Notice that I am not going to cover up the top, so I'm actually using my gel medium just like glue. I'm using my scissors to cut out the excess, and once that's done, I'll be using my Prima Distress tool and I'll go all over the edges. And once I'm done with the edges, I'll be using this rough part of the Prima Distressing tool, and I'll add some scratches on top of my paper just for some texture. And now I'll be using gesso. This gesso I'm using is quite liquid, it's not thick gesso, and it's by Faber-Castell, and I'm just applying a wash only on one side. So I'm using my heat gun there to dry it out, and now I'll be using sprays and pots from the Lindy's Stamp Gang collection. The collection I'm using today is Très Chic. The two colors that I'm using to spray now are called Merci Beaucoup Mint and C'est la Vie Cerise. And the pot that I'm using now to add more color on my gesso is by Lindy's Stamp Gang again, and it's actually from the same collection, so it's exactly the same color as the spray I used earlier. Now once I'm happy with my color, I'll be using this indigo blue stamp to add more interest on my background and some texture. So this is the ledger background, and I'm using my big brush markers by Faber-Castell to apply ink on the back of my stamp and then stamp it. Actually I'm using one of the blue shades and one of the brown shades. And as I'm heat setting my project, just to let you know that you can find a full list of supplies on my blog, and since this is a project for Limor Weber Designs, you can find a full list of supplies there as well. To add even more texture on my project, I'm using my whipped spackle, which is by Faber-Castell, and applying some over this stencil. And just because everything seemed too bluish and greenish on the background, I used one more spray from the same Lindy Stamp Gang collection, which is called Café au lait, and just added some splashes here and there. Now that everything is nice and dry, I can go ahead and add my embellishments. So I'm using these Victorian lamps, and I'm trying to decide which one I'm going to use. These are by Prima, and I decided to use the shorter one with the clock, so I'm using my gel medium at the back as a glue to stick it securely on my tag. The tag I'm creating today is going to actually decorate my craft room. And now I'm using black chalkboard paint by Faber-Castell and add some black details on my lamp. Now I don't actually want this lamp to be super black or too shiny, and that's why I'm using chalking, because it provides that matte look. Now I'm applying my paint here and there on the lamp, and then you'll see me blending everything out with my finger just to make it look more worn out and distressed. And now I'm picking out a few flowers from my Prima collection. So others are bigger, others are smaller, and I really don't care about their color. I'll follow a technique later on to blend them all together with my project. So once I'm happy with their placement, I'll go ahead and use my gel medium again as a glue to stick them down. And now I'll be using my gesso by Faber-Castell and the brush, and I'll go all over the flowers, applying gesso on top and as far as I can go with my brush inside the flowers. So you can see that it really doesn't matter what flower color I started with, since I'm going to cover it up. As you can see, I'm not covering the whole flower, but I do provide a main tooth on top so that my sprays that I'm using now will stay there. Now the sprays are again from the Tresic collection, since I'm featuring this collection today, and I'm using the pink color, which is actually called Chateau Rosé, and I'm also using my bluish color, which is the Merci Beaucoup. I went over the flowers with my sprays again and again until I was happy with the outcome, and now again I'm using a pot by Lindy's from the same collection, and actually this is the same color as my pink spray I used earlier, which is Chateau Rosé. And once I'm done with the flowers, I can go ahead and ink up my edges. I'm using Distress ink, that's the color of Vintage Photo, and I'm using my blending tool just on the edges. So now to add more interest, I'm using rub-ons. These rub-ons are by Tim Holtz, and I'll just add some here and there. This pot I'm using now is by Faber-Castell, and it's called Glass Beads. Now this is basically glitter, but it looks like glue, and although it looks white, it will dry totally clear, and the only thing you will be able to see when it's dry is the glitter. So what's great about this product is that you can apply glitter all over or wherever you wish, and it really sticks there. You won't see any glitter parts moving around. So I'm applying generously with my brush as well as with my finger on some of the flowers and on top of the lamp. Remember that although it's white now, it will dry transparent. This is another package of great embellishments by Prima. These are called street signs, and I'll be using the one that says My Place. So I'm using my tacky glue at the back, and I'm going to stick it on my tag. And again, you can find a full list of supplies just below the video on my YouTube channel, as well as on my blog and on Limor Weber Designs blog. Now, I went ahead and used my Crop-A-Dile at the top to add again the hole, and just to finish off my tag, I'll be using some seam binding to create some ribbons for the top. I'm spraying my seam binding using the same colors that I've used on my tag, so that's from the Tresic collection, and I'm just covering up the whole ribbons. At the top I used one of the wire pins by Tim Holtz through the hole, and now I'm just tying a bow with both my ribbons, and my tag is ready. And that was the project for today. I hope you had fun and got inspired to create your own decoration piece for your craft room. Don't forget to leave me a comment, as well as give me thumbs up on my YouTube channel. Thank you all for watching.